chemicals. Some electricity and chemicals, and come together, and boom, there we go. We have some sort of the beginning. How does nothing come to make itself into something? So, was the universe uncaused? Was it self-caused? Or the third one, was the universe caused by someone or something else? This here is the only reasonable explanation, guys. The universe could have only been caused by someone or something else. Now, as Christians, this is our view of how the universe came into existence. It's way more reasonable to believe that the universe was created from nothing and by someone, and that someone is God. Okay? Again, I don't know how someone can reasonably believe that our universe came from nothing, and that there was nothing one day and all of a sudden something came. The third step in that logic is the universe had a cause. Now, let me just backtrack here. So we're talking about what we call the first cause proof, which says God must be the first cause of the world. And the logical steps under that are whatever had a beginning had a cause. The universe had a beginning, and now we're going to go into that third one. The universe had a cause. So if the previous statements that I've made, which are whatever had a beginning had a cause, and the universe had a beginning, if those statements are true, then the only solid conclusion is that the universe had a cause. The universe came into being at a certain point in time, and so it had a beginning. And if it had a beginning, it would have a cause, because nothing comes into existence on its own. This cause, guys, is what we call, or who we call, God. So that was there. We just went over what we call the first cause proof. God must be the first cause of the world. Now, we're going to go over the next proof, which was the design proof. So I just got word right now that we got our YouTube stream going up, guys. So if you want to watch this on YouTube,
Missions for Him
right?
Radio.
Yeah, Missions for Him Radio, and
Missions for Him Go Live.
Oh yeah, Missions for Him Radio Go Live, and it's going to be right there. Once you get on there, you'll see it, and we should be on there. And there's just another way to watch, guys. And so again, we're on Periscope, and
Actually, a link also on Facebook.
yeah, and then there should be a link on Facebook, Missions for Him. And so there's a lot of ways that you guys can watch, but we just got the live streaming going up right there. I can see myself on the screen. I see myself on Periscope. And so, again, I just want to let you know that it is National Coffee Day. I didn't know if you knew that, Gabriel.
It's put out.
So there, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and cover now what we call now the next proof, which is the design proof. Okay? Remember, let me just get back here on my notes. So we have what's called the first cause proof, and we just went over that, the first cause proof. And now we're going to go over the design proof, okay? The design proof. Now the design proof seeks to show that design in God's creation points to an ultimate designer, God, right? You may have thought that purse that you've been carrying, or that designer wallet meant something great to you, right? But there's an ultimate designer that's greater than any other designer, and that's God, guys. That's what the design proof seeks to show, that design in God's creation points to an ultimate designer. Here's a scripture in Psalm 19, and this is very popular, especially when we look up into the sky and we see a creation of clouds and maybe a rainbow, or we just see an awesome just an awesome pattern up there in the sky, or you're in the mountains and you're looking at nature and so forth. A lot of people put this quote on pictures like that. In Psalms 19 verse 1, it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky proclaims the works of His hands. Day after day they pour out speech. Night after night they communicate knowledge. There is no speech. There are no words. Their voice is not heard. Their message has gone out to all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In the heavens He has pitched a tent for the sun." That's in Psalms 119, or Psalms 19 verses 1 to 4, guys. Talking about the design proof. And so our goal here is to show that the first cause, which is God, He is the first cause of everything, is both intelligent and purposeful. Okay? This is all under the design proof. Okay? This entire proof, just like our previous one, the entire proof can be stated in 3 sentences. Again, hopefully they're easy for us, easy for you to remember. Okay? Number 1, every design has a designer. Okay? Remember that, guys. Every design has a designer. The universe has a design. And 3, therefore, the universe has a designer. So we're talking about the design proof. And in 3 logical steps, the design proof can be summed up like this. Every design has a designer. The universe has a design. Therefore, the universe has a designer. Let's go over that first one. Number 1 is every design has a designer. Okay, now this is obvious. Everything that has ever been put together has what I call a put-togetherer. Okay? Everything that has ever been put together has a put-togetherer. So for example, research papers, right? Paintings, watches, etc. Design tells us that there is a designer responsible. Okay, if you're into cars, you like fast cars, modern cars, Lamborghinis, Porsches, some of those luxury cars, Mercedes-Benz, BMWs. You see some that are just, the newest car, has all the tech involved in it, has the latest design. You look at that and you know already, you don't have to even think about it, but you know already, when you look at that design, you know that there was someone who put that together. There was someone who designed it. If you're a college student, university student, and you write a research paper and it's detailed, by reading it, you can tell that it's took a lot of time to put together. You know that you didn't just come up and just think random words and sentences and paragraphs. That research paper was put together, by someone, by you. You look at a valuable painting or any painting. You look at a kid's painting. You look at your son's or your daughter's painting. And it may not be something that's worth $1 million. It means a lot to you. But when you look at that painting, you know that that painting was put together by someone. And they had some sort of plan in their mind. Even if it was a 2-year-old. There's some sort of plan, some sort of design that was put into that painting. A watch. You look at your watch. I went to a jewelry store recently at a mall here locally where I live, and we went to this jewelry store, and while we're waiting, they have a TV on the wall, and this TV on the wall was replaying a video that they have to sort of advertise what they do there. And one of the things that they do is they fix watches. Well, they had a video replaying of someone taking apart a Rolex watch, and I've never seen the inside of a watch like I seen on this video. When I seen this video, I knew watches have gears in them, and there's a sort of a spring mechanism that keeps it going until you have to rewind it up and all. But besides that, I never knew how this watch went together, how a watch went together, till I seen this video. Well, this guy turns the watch upside down. He takes off the back cover. You take off the battery, and then piece by piece, there has to be I don't know, maybe 100 or so pieces, depending on the watch. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be more. There could be less, but it's right around. It's right around right there. Hey, what's up, Chul? I just got a message from one of my friends, and I don't know if he's watching, but if you're watching, John, why don't you send me another message and let me know that you're watching, or at least listening. You're probably listening, right? So he's a good friend, a good guy there, and he just messaged me right now. I just want to say hi to John. So, and I seen this, this guy take apart this watch, and you cannot help but realize when this guy takes apart this watch that this watch did not just get put together randomly. It did not just find itself the right size gear with the right amount of teeth, with the right diameter and all that, and and just put itself together. You look at a watch, especially a watch, you know that there was a designer responsible. And that's what design tells us, guys. When we look around this world, this universe, up into the sky, we look at the trees, we look at the stars, we look at the mountains, we look at the animal kingdom, we look at humankind. Design tells us that there is a designer responsible, guys. All right. So, thinking about the design proof, that was number one. Every design has a designer. The second logical step under the design proof is this. The universe has a design. So every design has a designer. Talk about the universe now. The universe has a design. Now that we know the things that I just mentioned, we need to turn our attention to an important question. Okay? How do we know that the universe is designed? Okay? How do we know that the universe is designed? The universe is, the answer is by observing the universe. Okay? So how do we know that the universe is designed? All you got to do is just look up. Put your head up. Observe the universe. Look at what's going on. Check out the sky. Look at the clouds. Look around you. Those types of things. The design that we see in the universe is very, very, very complex. Okay? I just thought that just came to my mind when I was, thinking about the universe is this. I remember years ago, I think I may have been in 5th or 6th grade, and me and my neighbor who lived across, lived across the street from each other, we were talking about the universe, and we were looking up into the sky, and I asked him this question. And I was not a Christian. I was not walking with Jesus, though I knew God existed, and I had went to church. I was periodically going to church, and I went to church a little bit more as a younger kid. But right around 6th grade, I wasn't really attending church. I knew God existed, but I asked him a question. I said, where does the universe end? And then I followed up and I said, well, what if way at the end of what we can see, right beyond that where we can't see, what if there's like a brick wall that just, it covers a whole universe and we're inside that brick wall? Now, as a 6th grader, that was, at least back then, that was logical for me to think. There might be a wall that we're all in, and that's the universe, everything in there, right? And then he told me this. He said, well, what would be on the outside of that wall? Or what would be on the other side of that wall? And ever since he said that, even though I don't think I thought it then, I knew that just that statement alone, sort of in a way, in a funny way, I guess, strengthened my belief in God, that God was a creator of this universe. Okay? So the design we see in universe is very complex. A single cell animal, for example, contains the same amount of information as 1,000 volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica, right? Think about that. A single cell animal contains the same amount of information as 1,000 volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica. That's a lot of information, and that's in one single cell animal. We know that when you think about the cell, how small it is, yet how much information that it can contain. So just as an encyclopedia has an intelligent cause, right? It wasn't just pages and words just randomly put into a book, and we call it an encyclopedia. But just as an encyclopedia has an intelligent cause, it would be reasonable to believe that human beings also had an intelligent cause, right? If it's reasonable to believe that something like a computer and sophisticated machinery, if those things need intelligent causes like humans to create them, then why do we find it hard, or why do some find it hard to understand the need for an intelligent cause of human existence, right? I love computers, and I'm amazed at what computers can do. I'm looking at my laptop right now, and I can, or even a small SD card, as small as they are, how much information they can hold, right? And we know that those things don't just get put together, randomly. It's not by chance. Humans create them, right? So if we know that something as sophisticated as computer and machinery and the space shuttle and airplanes and those types of things, if we know that those things need intelligent causes like human beings to create them, why is it hard to understand the need for an intelligent cause for our existence, right? Think about this. The human brain is more sophisticated than the quickest computer, right? The eyeball is more precise than the best camera. The human hand is more flexible than the most advanced robot. How does the universe show evidence of intelligent design? There's an astronomer named Dr. Hugh Ross, and he lists evidences that demonstrate that our world has been intelligently designed to support life. And as I read these off, you can decide for yourself what best explains the Earth's beginning and continued operation. Think about it. Is it chance or is it intelligent design? Listen to these. Excuse me. If oxygen quantity in the atmosphere were greater than it is now, then plants would burn up too easily. If the oxygen quantity in the atmosphere were less than it is now, then animals would have too little to breathe. If the ozone level in the atmosphere were greater, then surface temperature would be too cold. If the ozone level were less, surface temperature would be too hot, and there'd be way too much radiation. If the thickness of the Earth's crust was thinner, volcanic activity would be too great, would be a lot greater. If Earth's tilt were greater or less, the surface temperature would be too hot or too cold. If the Earth's rotational period were longer, daytime temperatures would be way too hot or way too cold. And if it were shorter, wind speeds would be, too strong. Just think about those facts for a second, guys. This is all evidence of God's handiwork, and it reveals to us the unique design that He left for us. Evidence of intelligent design points to an ultimate designer, guys. That ultimate designer is God. So, the design proof. The logical steps. Every design has a designer. The universe has a design. And finally, number 3, therefore, the universe has a designer. This conclusion is true if the first 2 statements in the design proof are true, which are every design has a designer and the universe has a design. Remember, intelligence produces intelligence. Okay? Intelligence produces intelligence. Natural forces have never been observed producing the complexity that we find in a living cell. Okay? They've actually tried to do this in laboratories. They've tried to make life by non-life, and it has not been done. The odds of a one-cell animal to come into existence by pure chance, guys, a one-cell animal, okay, a one-cell organism, some sort of bacteria, a one-cell animal to come into existence by pure chance is this: 1 in 10 to the 40,000s. That's 10 with 40,000 zeros after it. Okay? We cannot come to a conclusion and say that this universe came into existence by pure chance, guys. Okay? Those odds are great. It cannot have it. And this is here's a statement that I've learned to love. It takes more faith to believe that this is true than an intelligent designer that we call God. Okay, guys. There's a statement that says it takes more faith. It takes more faith to be an atheist, guys. It takes more. You have to stretch your brain a whole lot further to actually believe what evolution teaches. Okay, so that was the design proof, guys, and we just went through the 3 logical steps in the design proof. Now we're going to go into the final proof, which is the moral proof. And before we go on and finish off this study on does God exist, covering the final proof, which is called the moral proof, again, I just want to go ahead and throw out some of these things. Since we are coming to a conclusion, if you're listening by any chance, and anyone's out there, if you just want to call and just say hi, you want to call and ask a question, I want you to get this number handy, guys. 909-632-4695. And by the time I'm done, if anyone is calling and you want to ask a question, you want to just share some encouragement, you want to just share a few words, I want you to go ahead and feel free to do that. If you also, you can even right now, you can even now text in to that same number, and you can ask the question. That way the text will be on our screen, and we can hopefully get to that question and ask it. Again, 909-632-4695, guys. And we'd love to talk to you, and we got some great minds here, and we love to just share some of God's love with you guys. So we're going to go ahead and close out with this final proof called the moral proof. And got a phone call.
Yeah, let's take it.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and stop, and we got a phone call.
We'd love to talk to you.
Hello, who's this?
Well,
You're gonna have to turn down your
this is David.
your volume. It's kind of the
Okay.
the backlash there. Okay.
Okay,
Who is this?
got it. This is David.
Oh, David. That's a great name. Hi, David. This is David.
Hi. Hi. I'm calling. I'm calling about the intelligent design conversation and topic.
Okay. First of all, before we go on, how are you listening
You know,
to
I'm
us?
a-
Just curious.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just curious. How are you listening to us?
How what?
How are you listening to us?
Through online.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Online.
Scope or
Is missionsforhim.org? Is that what it is?
ask me location.
Yes.
Okay. And where are you calling from?
Myradiostream.com.
Okay.
I'm calling from Montclair.
Oh, Montclair, just down the street. Okay, so what was your question or your comment?
So I'm a biology teacher, and I'm listening to your intelligent design conversation, and I totally agree. The more I teach about the complexity of a cell and how each part of the cell works, it just points to creation, points to an intelligent design. There's no way you can convince me
Right.
that it's all by accident. Molecules just fell together and created life. It just doesn't make it. It makes less sense than believing in a creator.
Yeah, that's why I pointed out in the beginning. It's just simple common sense that even second grader can figure out some of these things.
Right, but we're so trained that we're supposed to follow the books, and everything that's in the book is the truth and so forth, and we don't look at anything else. And yet there's so many Christian scientists out there who dispute all the aspects of evolution, all the aspects of this, or point to intelligent design.
Right.
But we're not trained. We're not here to give these students anything else but what's in the book. It's something that's already kind of gearing them towards one area, which is, natural selection, or should we say evolution,
Right.
and no intelligent design. So it's just incredible. It's hard for me to believe as a Christian science teacher to believe that's the agenda of our educational system.
Right. Now, have you ever had challenges, while you were teaching this, and as maybe as you're speaking those words out of that teacher's book, knowing that what you're saying to these kids, to these students, is going against your conscience, going against what you believe in? Is that a big challenge for you?
Not really, because I don't. I always tell the kids, I question what's in the book, question what's in there. There's other information out there that points to something different, and look at the complexity of this. Don't tell me this is done by accident. I try not to, let my conscience kind of gear me to one area or another. I know that what the standards say. I know what we're supposed to teach, but it doesn't mean no one's gonna tie my back and say, you got to teach this, or point a gun to my head and teach exactly what they want me to. I'm gonna teach the standards. I'm do my job because that's what I'm paid for, but I'm gonna add in, thought-provoking questions to the kids to think outside the textbook.
Right. Yeah, that's
and
cool.
point them to this intelligent design without talking about God, which, of course, I'm not supposed to.
Right.
Hey, David. Hey, David.
Yes.
Hey, this is David Gonzalez.
Yes.
Hey, good to hear from you, man. Nice.
Gabe?
Yeah, this is Gabriel. Yeah, I thought that was
How
you.
you doing? I didn't know you were on there right now.
Yeah. I heard you, so I recognized your voice, and I thought I'd chime in and stuff. You know, David, the David that's here, he actually works with junior high school kids, and David's really experienced in working with kids, man. Maybe one day he can come out and speak to your group that you do.
Sure, I would love to. Anytime, Pastor Gabe, you know that.
Right. I was just talking to your pastor online right now. I think Mama Helen was going to come out this afternoon.
Oh yeah, that's why I tuned in, because I can't wait to hear. Sister Helen has an amazing testimony that women who are praying for their kids need to hear, and I just can't wait to hear that.
So for our listeners and stuff, you know, what I'm getting is that even though, you know, because of your job and stuff, you know, your hands are kind of theoretically tied, but you know, there's a way to get around it to provoke kids to start thinking and to challenge them without actually, you know what I mean, crossing borders and lines is what you're saying, right?
I have some flexibility, and there's loopholes without pointing to, you know, to or talking about the word God. There's ways to get them to think, you know, outside what the textbook says, outside of what academia wants them to know or to learn.
Awesome,
you know?
Awesome.
So that's a good thing. God always provides that way.
We appreciate you, man. We appreciate the work that you're doing, and we're about ready to move into a building right across the street from the bowling alley, the Montclair bowling alley. There's a Calvary Chapel
Oh wow,
there.
awesome.
And we're negotiating, you know, with them right now and stuff. And we met with them, and we're planning on opening up, you know, and reaching out to the youth. Anthony, man, he was really blessed. I appreciate Anthony. You know, he highly thinks of you, my bro.
Right.
So yeah, he thinks highly of you. I'll step aside and let you drill David. Let's put him through the test here. He needs some provoking calls.
Okay, Pastor Gabe.
God bless you,
Actually,
man.
I have to get going because my bell just rang. I got to get instruction going in a few minutes. So I just was on my lunch break and decided to call because I was listening to that conversation and I thought it was really interesting.
All right, cool, David. This is back to David. Just real quick, if even if you guys have a,
yes.
I don't know if you guys have one, but if you guys have a Bible club at your school,
yes.
we'd love to go and share there.
Yes, I actually one of the advisors for the Cavaliers for Christ on campus, and we meet every Tuesday after school from 3 to 4. And we're excited about a new teacher. I think Chris Reyes is out here teaching from Calvary, teaching Bible study for just kids. But yes, we do have a Christian club.
Oh, cool. So then you can I'll connect with Gabriel, and if you want, you know, got another arrow that we can send over there to share with your kids.
Okay.
All right, David. Thank you for calling in. God bless you.
All right, Dave. Thank you for taking my call. We'll talk to you later. Be blessed.
You got it,
guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take another call.
All right, we got another call.
Go ahead and just let everybody know.
All right, guys. So we have another call that's coming in. We're going to go ahead and take that call. And just for the rest of you that are listening, we still got a portion of this study left, so we'll see how it goes, and we'll be able to finish off. But
we'll wait till the call comes in.
Okay, so we'll wait until the calls come in, and I'm going to continue on. And we're coming down to the end here of this study on Does God Exist? And just as a recap, we've been going over what we call the first cause proof, which uses the universe to prove that God is its cause. We just finished going over what we call the design proof, which uses the order in our world or the design in our world to demonstrate that there's an intelligent designer responsible for what we see. And then now we're going to go and cover the last proof, which we call the moral proof. And the moral proof uses the moral law, which is written in our hearts to show that a moral lawgiver does exist. So now, let's talk about the moral proof. The moral proof shows how a person's ability to know right from wrong in his heart was given to him or her by God the Creator. This proof is going to show that God is moral and that God is good. And this proof will show that there is a moral law, and the moral law is simply a standard of right and wrong within our hearts. There must be a moral lawgiver, okay? The ability to recognize right from wrong and to know what one ought to do morally is called moral law, or is called a conscience. Let me just say that one more time. The ability to recognize right from wrong and to know what one ought to do, one what should do, one what needs to do morally is called the moral law. It's called a conscience. Morals are laws of right and wrong, and they apply to every single person on earth. These laws make us aware of how we should behave with regard to what's right and what's wrong. When dealing with right and wrong, we're in the field or in the study of morality and ethics. Now, just like the previous proofs, you can state the moral proof in 3 sentences, in 3 logical steps. Number 1, every moral law has a moral lawgiver. Number 2, there is a moral law. And number 3, therefore, it has a moral lawgiver. Number 1, every moral law has a moral lawgiver. Romans chapter 2, verse 15 says this: they show that the work of the law is written on their hearts. Their consciences confirm this. Their competing thoughts will either accuse or excuse them on the day when God judges what people have kept secret, according to my gospel through Jesus Christ. Paul states here about a moral law that stands in each heart, in each person's heart, as an internal judge of a person's thoughts and actions. That's why when you're about to do something that you shouldn't do, there's that little voice that tells you, don't do it, or it might even tell you to do it. But there's that little voice, right? I always think about this like this, guys. When I was a kid, one of the cartoons I used to watch a lot was Tom and Jerry. And I remember watching Tom and Jerry. Tom was sort of the bad guy, right? And when he was about to, when he had an opportunity to beat on Jerry, right, he'd have a club in his hand, and he'd have it, the club up, swinging up, ready to whack him, and then poof, here comes the little devil angel on his shoulder, right? And the little devil angel would tell him, "Go ahead, Tom, just do it," rubbing his hands together, and just kind of like saying, "Oh, like that evil posture." And then poof, here comes the little angel, the good angel, coming up and says, "Jerry or Tom, don't do it," right? It's that little voice that's in the back of our hearts, in the back of our minds, and that's kind of a way to state what the conscience is. So laws do not emerge on their own; they must be given, or just like our laws don't appear out of thin air. So also moral laws written within us need a lawgiver, and this lawgiver we know as God. Okay, guys? So every moral law has a moral lawgiver. They don't just appear there on their own. We don't just feel that sense of, well, that may not be right, making a decision. You're going to do something that's wrong, and that little voice, that little thing pops up, and it tells you, that's not the best thing to do. It's not just, that doesn't just come by randomness. It's not this just there by chance. Okay? Moral laws are written within us, and the lawgiver that writes them within our hearts is God. The second logical step under the moral proof is there is a moral law. There's a moral law that exists outside of our thoughts and outside of our feelings, but yet is built inside of every single person. So for example, how do humans know the difference between right and wrong, right? How do we know that there's a difference between right and wrong? It's because it's built in us. It's built inside of us. We don't make it up, right? For example, again, here I am on this side of the earth, on this side of the globe. If I'm about to bash in someone's car with a crowbar or a bat, as that thought begins to take place in my mind, as I'm getting ready to do that, there's going to be, my conscience is going to speak to me, and it's going to say, "Why are you doing that?
that's wrong. That's not right. He's going to throw out all these different things. What about the other person? How are they going to feel? How much is it going to cost them to fix? Et cetera. That's the thought that's going to come to my mind. You get someone on the complete opposite end of the globe, and they're about to do the same thing as I am. They're going to have the exact same thoughts. They're going to have the exact same feelings. And that's because it's built inside of every single person. How do we know there's a moral law within us? Well, number one, there is an agreement by all people that certain things are always wrong. So again, just like my illustration earlier, everybody thinks and knows that a murder is wrong. Everyone knows that lying is wrong. Everyone knows that theft is wrong, molestation, etc. Those things are wrong. That's why there are laws all over this world. If you murder someone, you get in trouble. You pay the consequences. If you lie, there's consequences to pay. If you steal something, there's consequences to pay. If you violate someone, there's consequences to pay. And so it's like everyone, all people know that there are certain things that are always wrong. Also, everyone desires, right, to be treated with dignity. Everyone desires to be treated with fairness, with courtesy. If there was no moral law written in our heart, then there would be a wider variety in what people believe to be wrong. I'll say that again. If there was no moral law written in our hearts, there would be a wider variety in what people believe to be wrong. So, how do we know the difference between right and wrong? That was the first one. The next thing is those that deny, or those who deny there is any moral order, live their lives as though there were one. Again, those who deny that there is any moral order, they still live their lives as though there was one. So, for example, you have a person being treated unjustly. It doesn't matter, again, where you go. You treat a person wrong. If that particular person were to believe in what I just said, if they believe that, well, there is no moral law, there is no such thing as right and wrong, there's no God, and He doesn't put in every person, the ability to know that, something is wrong or something is right. If you mistreat that person, they're still going to demand that you treat them with respect, right? They still live their lives. Even if they don't believe there is a moral law within their hearts, they still live their lives as though there was one. All you have to do is get someone like that, mistreat them a little bit, and you'll find out how they believe. People's reactions to injustice show their true belief in a moral order. And so when someone is, again, you show injustice in some way, some form, the reaction will show you that they do believe that there is such a thing as right and wrong. It's not always by someone's actions that we find out what they believe, but it's by their reactions. Okay? And so all you have to do, again, is just get a bat, run towards their car, and as soon as they shout out and say, what are you doing, you know that they believe that there is such a thing as right and wrong. As soon as they're treated without respect or fairness, you can discover they truly defend a moral law no matter what they say. Okay? And so, we find this, you can see that, you just talk to an atheist, right? Talk to someone who believes like this. If an atheist, if someone comes and tells you there is no God, then you tell them, well, if there is no God, then there is no reason why you exist. You're just here to live and die, and that's it. You're just gonna burn away. You're gonna deteriorate when you die. So if that's the case, if God does not exist, then I could steal your wallet right now. I can take your money, and it shouldn't bother you, right? It doesn't matter what a person says. You're going to find out that they do believe, by their reaction, that there is a right and there is a wrong. The third thing, those who deny a standard of right and wrong, those who say there is no right and wrong, there is no standard, there is no lawgiver, they overlook values that could never be denied to anyone. So, for example, all people value the right to disagree. All people value the right to think freely. All people value the right to, simple everyday things like breathing, eating, living, exercising their free choice. If these were to be denied, again, you're going to find out a person's true belief about morals. So again, if you tell someone, hey, doesn't matter what you say there is no such thing as a right and wrong, there's no such thing as a lawgiver, no morals, etc. But they do value the right to think freely or to breathe or to eat. And if I were to tie a rope around their neck, you're going to find out real quick that you're trying to stop their right to breathe, their right to think freely, etc. And then finally, statements like the world is getting better or the world is getting worse. When someone says, well, I look around the news, I look around the world, and I see that things are getting better. Or someone says, oh, no, all I see is things getting worse. Statements like that would be impossible without a standard, without a moral law, outside the world for what is best. So in other words, when someone says, well, I see the world getting better, they have to judge that statement based upon a certain standard, and that standard is the moral law. So again, when someone says they don't believe in morals, a moral law, a moral lawgiver, when someone says the world's getting better, the world's getting worse, that would be impossible without that standard of a moral law within their heart, within their lives. The moral law is the rule or measuring rod of what is good and bad. Again, you can only state what's good and bad, right and wrong, based on a God-given standard of right and wrong. Only then can we judge if things are getting worse or better, obviously. True progress can't be measured without something to measure it by. Okay? And finally, under the moral proof, number 3, there is, or therefore, a moral lawgiver exists. And we're going to close with these couple statements here. Therefore, a moral lawgiver exists. If the first 2 statements are true, which is what we covered right now, every moral law has a moral lawgiver, and there is a moral law, then this third conclusion is also true. Just as there are lawmakers who make the laws that govern our country, there is a lawgiver, who is God, who makes laws that govern our thoughts and actions. So again, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in today. We thank our caller for calling in earlier. And again, we're here live. We're talking apologetics every Tuesday at 12 noon. Appreciate anyone, those that were watching on YouTube and those that are watching on Periscope. We thank you for tuning in. Until next week, guys, God bless, and we'll see you again.
Okay, welcome. This is Gabriel. Hey, I'm your host for Missions for Him Radio. Missions for Him Radio is an outreach ministry of Missions for Him Ministry. Our studio is located in San Bernardino, and here at Missions for Him we stream live interviews with pastors, missionaries, and evangelists from all over the world. Our locations are Africa, Middle East, Europe, South and North America, and Asia, with the major theme of evangelism. We love to encourage people to find their identity in the place of the body of Christ. We also connect people to local churches that are outreaching here and in the mission field. Our topics on a weekly basis will be missions, social justice, homelessness. We'll have Bible teaching, life in ministry, and church life. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me at 909-218-9385. I'm the host, Gabriel Provencio. And also, you can go to our website, which is mission4him.org. God bless you. Welcome to our program.
Hey, this is Pastor Tommy with On Fire Radio. We've got a great broadcast for you today. Stay tuned. Don't change that dial. Know that God loves you. God wants you to be filled up with the Holy Ghost and the fire of God. Come on, let's bless His name. Alright, this is a new one called Gonna Have to Step It Up. Gonna worship you, gonna magnify your name, 'cause you alone are worthy in my life, oh God. Yeah, step up, gonna have to step up now. Day to dying day, every day down, laying it down. Got to step it up. No time to waste now. There's no time. Step it up, just step it up now. Lay it down, lay it down. Gonna have to step up. Got to step it up. No time to waste now. That's on God's own word. And liberty. We're free. step it up now. Gonna worship you, gonna magnify your name, 'cause you alone are worthy in my life, oh God. Yeah, step up, gonna have to step up now. Till my dying day, every day down, laying it down. Got to step it up, no time to waste now. There's no time. Step it up, just step it up now.